Hello guys, welcome to Caitlin's Crypt. Today I'm going to be telling you things that you should know before buying a haunted doll. So let's get into it. When you're thinking about purchasing a haunted doll, you want to think to yourself, what type of spirit do you want? Do you want one that's positive? Do you want one that's negative? Do you want one that shows a lot of activity? Do you want one that's quite quiet and doesn't show activity at all unless you communicate with it? Do you want one that you can go to paranormal investigations with? Or do you want one that you can investigate yourself? All of these spirit dolls are available. You just need to find the right one for you. Some spirits can show you their emotions and try and show you how they felt. Other ones can mess with lights and do stuff like that. And then some of them just don't show any activity at all unless you are actively communicating with them. So you have to be really careful when buying a haunted doll and trust that the seller is being honest, because unfortunately there are some dishonest sellers out there who will list a doll as haunted and they actually aren't. I always recommend for people to get more evidence, more information and videos of the doll so that they can have the best evidence possible before purchasing the doll. Any seller would be happy to do this if they are being genuine. I'd also recommend to check their reviews, and if they have got a lot of good reviews, it is normally a good sign that the seller is honest and they are good. So I would just like to take this opportunity to say that I do sell haunted dolls myself. There is a link up here of another video I've done talking about this. You can find them on eBay at Bella Haunted Dolls Official and also on Etsy at Bella Haunted Dolls. I also post content about them on Facebook and Instagram at Bella Haunted Dolls, and I do have a TikTok account as well where I go live with the spirit dolls, and it is Bella Haunted Dolls 66, and I'll also be posting more content on here, so I would appreciate a like and a subscribe to see more content like this. I will be doing some communication videos with the dolls, and I've got some new ones that I'll be going through the whole process with. So moving on from that, you should also think about what type of activity you'd be happy with in your home. You should also ask anyone that you live with if they are happy to have a spirit in their home and what type of activity they'd be comfortable with. You should also ask any other spirits that live with you if they are happy to welcome another spirit into their space. And if you have pets, you should choose a spirit that is safe to have around animals, because spirits can affect animals just how they affect us. So when you're looking for a spirit doll to buy, you need to read the description really carefully and make sure that you're happy with all the information in there. If you can't find the description, I would recommend contacting the seller and they should be able to send it to you, because you might find something in the description that you have in common with the spirit doll and you can bond over it. So when you're purchasing a spirit doll, you want to keep in mind that you might get more activity than what you bargained for. So spirits can act differently around different people and in different settings. So you want to read the description really carefully, and if there's not much in the description, then obviously contact the seller, but this might be a sign that the spirit is quite unknown and it might act differently around you than the seller. So what you want to keep in mind is when the spirit doll is on its way to you, it could pick up a negative attachment. When you get the spirit doll, you want to protect it, cleanse it, and cleanse your home and your space. And I also recommend doing this before you receive the spirit doll as well. I have got a video up here of me explaining how to protect yourself and your home and any spirit dolls you might have. So once you get your spirit doll, if you experience any weird behaviour that's not listed in the description, I would recommend contacting the seller and just asking if this is normal for the spirit or if they have experienced anything similar. If they haven't, I would recommend getting a second opinion off a trusted paranormal investigator or a medium. Always remember to give your spirit doll time to settle into their new home. You want to leave it about a week before trying to communicate with them, because they do want to get used to you and their new surroundings. You should contact the seller to ask them how they are likely to settle in. So a way that you can help your spirit doll to settle into their new home is that you can give them an offering. So if they like flowers, for example, you could go out and pick a flower or get one from the shop and give it to them as a gift when they arrive. This will help them settle in and start to trust you. So a really important thing that you want to do when you receive your spirit doll is set boundaries. I normally tell my spirit dolls that they can't touch me, harm me, or affect me in any way. So this spirit doll here, who's my personal spirit doll, he was giving me migraines when I first got him, and I found out from my spirit guides and other spirits in the house that it was him. And when I communicated with him, he did stop, but he was trying to make me feel how he felt. But like I say, this soon stopped, and setting boundaries does help prevent stuff like this. So another thing I recommend is when you get your spirit doll, you should get a notepad and a pen and write down any activity that happens, write down the date, write down the time and what happened, and as well as in any communication sessions, it's really handy to write everything down, any answers you get. It's brilliant to look back on and document. So when you start communicating with your spirit doll, I always recommend to start asking questions that will confirm their description, because you want to make sure that you are communicating with the right spirit and that their description is correct. Also keep in mind that things don't happen on cue. When they do offer communication and they offer activity, they have to use a lot of energy to do this, and sometimes they just don't have the energy to do it, or they don't want to. I'm sure we all have days where we just don't want to talk to anyone. So another thing to keep in mind is that spirits don't show activity all the time. So I normally find that they show activity when they're trying to tell me something, if they want attention, or if you are actively communicating with them. It's not like paranormal activity. There won't be things happening all the time, every day. If you do find that they are happening a lot, I would definitely contact a paranormal investigator or a medium, just in case it is a negative entity. I would also recommend fully protecting yourself, your home and your spirit doll when you are communicating, which can be found in my other video. So you want to keep your spirit doll in a space in your home that you are comfortable with. I wouldn't recommend keeping them in your bedroom because it can affect you in your sleep. The only time I recommend this is if you want to see if they affect your dreams, but I wouldn't recommend keeping them in there long term, because this should be your safe place and your own personal space. So when you first get your spirit doll, you might already have paranormal equipment, but if you don't, I would recommend starting off cheap because it can get quite expensive. So cat balls are a great option because they're really easy for the spirit to set off. You can also get yes or no answers from these, and you can ask the spirit to set them off. An EMF reader is also another great choice because they are relatively cheap. They can do yes or no answers as well, and you can also ask them to set it off, and you can see the electromagnetic field. That's what EMF stands for. You can also use dowsing rods, which are cheap as well. You can hold them in your hands, and they cross. Well, I normally do cross for yes or go outwards for no. The spirit can also point to where they are in the room, which is also really great. You can also use a spirit box, but they are on the more expensive side. There are apps, but I don't really trust these because they do tend to spit out random words. Another method I really like to use is a pendulum. They are really cheap as well, and they are really easy to get used to. And once you know how to use them, you can get yes or no answers. Or if you got a spirit, not a spirit board, I don't use them. If you get a pendulum board, they can go yes, no, maybe, and rephrase, which is handy when you're communicating with a new spirit because they might not understand you. So with paranormal equipment, I do just tend to tell people to get what they can afford, because you can always do vigils if you don't have any paranormal equipment, which is where you call out to the spirit and you ask for knocks or noises. It can be hit or miss, and you do have to make sure that you're in a quiet place and try and debunk noises as much as possible. I do just want to say as well that these are my own beliefs, they're my own practices, and if you do end up getting a spirit doll and it's not what you expected, you just make sure you do protect yourself and seek the right help. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.